Yo, okay, part two, let's go. Let's recap. Actually, before we recap, hit the subscribe button because I don't want to have to ask you later and you might not make it to the end of the video, so may as well do it now and then that's job done, innit? Let's be efficient about this. What are we making? We're working through this build here, and today I want to talk, or in this part, I want to talk about moving objects in React 3 Fiber. God, I'm tired, man, and the coffee is running dry. But yeah, we're going to look at moving objects in React 3 Fiber today. There's a heap of ways to do this, and I'm just going to cover today how to do it with GSAP. The reason I'm doing GSAP for this one, so when you're building a project, you're going to want to weigh up like what your goal is here. And GSAP works on both DOM elements, so kind of regular HTML elements, as well as working on canvas-based 3D elements. So it's a good crossover if you've got like like here, where it's like energy, like if you've got that popping up behind, and if you've got all of these kind of HTML elements that you want to move as well as 3D stuff, then GSAP is a good crossover. If you're doing something like I don't know, just everything is 3D, like full immersive, everything you're doing is going to be on canvas, or more or less everything is on canvas, then I think there's other ways that I would prefer to do it, which I'll go over in another video, I reckon. But okay, so in the part before this, I just went through like a real Billy basic way of setting up a React 3 Fiber project, and that just gives us a red cube, orbit controls camera, nothing too fancy. So if we go back to the code, then we can get rid of orbit controls. We're going to try and put GSAP in. And the goal is, I can't get comfortable, by the way. I'm like wriggling around on the floor. I don't even know why I've decided to sit on the floor to do these videos, to be honest, but just whatever in it. Anyway, the goal is that we want to be able to scroll our page and move this box. That is really all we're aiming for right now. We can finesse it all later with the positioning and stuff. So first things first, we're not going to want orbit controls, which is going to mean if we drag, it's not going to move, and we just get like what looks like a square, but it's actually a box just facing us. We can get rid of that. And if you remember, we've set it up so we've got main scene inside our main canvas here. So if we go to scene like this, then we're just going to focus on this box right here. First thing we're going to want to do then is we're going to install GSAP React, because it's got kind of a handy little hook there called use GSAP, which is like GSAP's equivalent of like a use effect, but I think it handles like the dismounting. All I'm seeing is ugly here. Whatever. Oh, okay, I'm in the wrong folder, my bad. That's annoying. Okay, let's cancel out of that one. Ignore that I did that. I'm going to say that I'll delete this part from the video, but I blatantly won't. Okay, yeah, my bad. So we need to change directory into this folder here. That's where we're going to be installing things, and then npm install at GSAP React to get that nice little hook that we want. And then let's dive into it. So things we're going to want to install includes that GSAP hook here. We are also going to want GSAP itself, and we're going to use scroll trigger. Where are you? There. And then we need to register scroll trigger. There it is. Boom. Okay, that's a little setup done. Now here's what we're going to do. When it comes to moving things, and particularly rotating things, this is my top tip, right? Yeah, this is particularly with rotating, and if you look at this video, this site here, there's obviously a lot of spinning going on and the rotation like that. You need to separate the concerns here. What do I mean by separate concerns? If you do like this kind of Z rotation where it's like going clockwise and anti-clockwise, when you apply like a Y rotation, like that spin, it's not gonna be relative to its like local coordinates. So what you need to do to get around that is we're just gonna put groups around everything. So we'll call that can, let's do that can1 ref because later we're going to be doing other cans. Is that right? Yeah. Dom, dom, dom. Still got Herbie Hancock on in the background for anyone that likes music. And then here's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to wrap it in another reference, in another group, sorry, called can1 spin ref, like that. Cool. And then we're going to want to make a reference to these bad boys up here. Can1 ref equals use ref. Lovely. And then const can1, what do we call it? Spin ref, wasn't it? Use ref. And that should hopefully have put, no it didn't. So we're going to have to import use ref as well. Like that. Cool. So now we've got references to our can object, which is in a group. It's just nicer that way because then we're not actually, fucking with the actual mesh itself. We're just kind of parenting it to groups, to like controllers. I guess the equivalent would be putting like a null object if you were working in Blender or like Unreal Engine or something like that. And then we put a spin one in so that we can control the spin independent of whatever rotation we've got there. It's just going to be helpful later. This setup though is particularly helpful if you're doing like camera movements, because then you've got like independent control over the axes of the camera movement, which is helpful. My WhatsApp is pinging off in the background and I'm going to do nothing about it. But drink some coffee. While we're organizing things, let's set up an initial position of that for here, and then we may as well put, that's going to get really annoying. There we go. That should, oh no, I did initial position, didn't I? There we go. So you won't see any changes there and hopefully no errors. Yep, lovely stuff. But what we have is GSAP kind of set up, ready to go. So let's get into it. We're going to want to start with use GSAP like that. There must be some like, I've seen YouTube videos where like the code basically fills itself in. I wish I knew what that was. Anyway, let's set up a timeline for this. I think that's right. Yeah, looks about right to me. Yeah, cool. And then if we just set up like what the trigger points are going to be, the trigger itself is just going to be the body. Start. Well, I mean, I'm just down to keep this simple. We don't need to like fuck around with different markers and trigger points, you know. Scroob. I shall be scroobing today. God, my syntaxing is poor today. Scrub is true because obviously we're going to do it on the old scrolling. And if we want, we could put markers on as well, just so that we can see where they are. So that's GSAP scroll trigger set up. Then let's set up like the positions that we're going to move the box to. So we've got our initial position, so we don't need to really piss around with that. We've got can ref, no can1 ref, there it is. We'll get the current position, no, not position. There we go. current position, and let's just give it whatever, like X, we can move it whatever to the right a little bit. Y, let's just keep it center, and then let's bring it towards us. So Z, if we do 3, if you remember, our camera was at 006, I think. So that'll feel like it's bringing it towards us. Yeah, we can keep it like that for now. I feel like Herbie Hancock's getting a bit intense in the background. Let's see what else we got. Back to the start of this album. Great album, by the way. Probably one of my favorites. It's cool. I'm like, it's one of my favorites. I will not tell you what it is. I wonder what it's, I can't remember what it's called. Sunlight, that's it. I keep thinking it's called Sunshine, but no, it's Sunlight. Right, we've got one movement, and then let's kind of complete it and ping it back. Because I could show you kind of a, could I show you a cool trick? No. But we may as well ping it back anyway. So can one ref dot current dot position, just like that. I could have just copied that, but x0, y0, z0 just puts it back to where it was. And then, yeah, let's just see how that, if we save that, do we need to add, we don't need to add any dependencies in there. Okay, so we've got our triggers, our markers set up there, blah, blah, blah. But what you'll notice is it can't do anything because we've got no scroll height. So you're going to have to go back to page. This is our main home page. Don't know why image is imported. Page.js over here. And if we go to just do like 300, like 3-page scrolls. If we did that now, then nothing happens. There we go. Just had to do a quick refresh. Sweet. Okay, so we've got it moving towards us and to the right a little bit. You could put easing in there. I'm probably not going to do it right now, but you could. You can do like ease. I'm like, I'm probably not going to do it. Then proceeds to do it. Trying to remember what some of the easing functions are. Let's do like. I think that's one. I think you might have to refresh it. Yeah, you don't really notice it, to be honest, but that's how you put easing functions in anyway, if you want to. Who cares? Right, next up, we could do a little bit of rotation, may as well, while we're here. So let me show you what I mean with the spin and the rotation, and then we're kind of chill with this. Jesus Christ. Can one ref. Sorry if anyone's offended by my language. Okay, so this time we're going to target rotation instead of the position. And let's just do X rotation. So X rotation is going to be like, I did it with my hands then, you can't see my hands. Kind of like towards you, like a tombola sort of vibe. Let's just give it like a 90-degree rotation like that. So that should, I don't know if it will do it without, oh yeah, there we go. Sometimes it needs a refresh, sometimes it don't. Okay, so you'll notice it's doing it in the second half of the timeline. It's kind of like doing all of the moves sequentially. You see it's coming towards us, it's going back, and then it's doing this. So to get around that, we can just tell it where we want it to start. We want it to start at the very beginning there. There we go, job done. And I think we can probably set like a duration of 2, and that should do it for the whole amount. Yeah, there we go. Lovely. It's a bit, it's definitely pinging. I think if we gave it a bit more page to scroll, like maybe if that was like 600, there we go. I mean, it's still a bit jank, but we could sort that out with easing and all of that. Wait, refresh it. Yeah, there we go. That feels a bit better. got 6 pages to scroll through. In reality, I'd probably put in like Lenis, which is like a smoothing, scroll smoothing library, just to make that kind of nice, because at the moment it's janky because it's so like attached to the scrub position. So we'd want to dampen that a little bit. I'll show you how to do that in another video. So where have we got to? Main scene, we've done that. Okay, let me show you the spinning now. So it's exactly the same situation. In fact, we could just copy that to Can1 spin ref. And all we're concerned with here is the y-axis. And let's just give it a full like 180. That should start at the beginning. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of cool. And if we did like the same duration, I mean, you can just piss around with ideas all day, but now it will spin totally independent of its x spin. Let me show you the difference. Like if we took that off and we did like y, this is going to be totally pointless to show you, I think. I don't even know if like there is a discernible difference there, because if you look, this is the top face, right? Just kind of keep an eye on the top face. Like the top face is now facing us, which, you know, if you imagine that's a can, that's going to be the can pull situation there. In fact, if we change this to cylinder geometry, let me just get the arguments for cylinder geometry. So it's radius top, which we can have 1, radius bottom, height can be 1 as well, and then it's then it's just segments. So I don't know, 32, 32, cool. So if we change that for a cylinder, you'll see it better. See how it's facing the top now, whereas if we do that, get rid of you, Can1 spin ref, change that to that, then it should, this is where I'm seen to be an absolute bullshitter. Okay, it does fuck all, great. Why would that be? Oh, okay, it doesn't actually change anything really and truly, so you could probably just ignore the last 5 minutes of this video, but still give me a subscribe and a like. Okay, but that's how we're going to move things using GSAP, and how we would move the cans. We could then put like an extra can in there, you know, if we wanted to put... By the way, this is whack, so let's do... There you go, more like a can now. We don't want it to spin back like that. So we're going to want... We're going to want to add an extra Y position to put that back to 0. And we don't want like full... Maybe if we did something like that, it might just feel a little bit nicer. It feels shit. Get rid of the duration, and that should just kind of like bow it towards us a little bit, and then should go back. Hello? Why? Interesting. Maybe because we haven't set an initial rotation. Possibly. I mean, this is worth figuring out, isn't it? Let's see if that solves that. Why not just go back like you're told to do? We'll figure this out. Don't worry. Everyone's there like super worried, I can tell. Oh, it's me being an idiot. I'm doing the spin and not the rotation. Okay, again, ignore the last 5 minutes of this video. Duration is going to be 1, but it defaults to 1, so we can just actually fuck that off entirely, and then you go back to 0. You can be a lesser angle if you wanted. There we go. This will. Let's refresh it from the top. Here we go. It should. Jesus Christ. Because we don't want them both starting at 0. That would be silly. There we go. Okay, it's kind of sick how it's like this lovely little like obedient can just bowing. Respectful can. Okay, cool. So you kind of get the gist. Sorry, this video is pure jank. Important things though are like the starting position here. That's kind of what screwed me up a minute ago because I had that, which means that it's doing both the rotation forwards and the rotation to 0 at the same time, which it doesn't want. So we'll do that. The spin, that's just kind of reverting back, but you can't see the spin anyway because it's like, you know, you could if we did like less segments maybe. There you go. You'll see the spin now. Lovely. Okay, so that's how we will move things with GSAP. I'm not going to go through the whole setup, but I will kind of paste my setup into here so that the whole movement kind of matches what I did on this build here. I also put some elastic easing in, which made it much nicer. Maybe it's worth showing you that as well. Let me find a nice elastic one that I used. Did I use any elastic easing? I think I decided against the elastic easing in the end because it was too bouncy. But I did put a nice like little ease in there. I think I used just the Power 2 stuff, which I've already shown you. So I'll populate this out. And then I'll just publish the code on GitHub so you've got it. It's kind of really hard to tell, but I mean, that does feel more like excitement to it. So another thing that's kind of cool, I can't seem to end this video, can I? Is if you kind of adjust the start points, like for example, you know, we don't need it to start like bowing towards us right at the start here. So if we did like something like that, maybe that was like 1 point, you know, we offset the start points, it just kind of merges things a little bit. So you're like halfway through a rotation and then it does things and it just feels a bit more natural. Anyway, that's how we use GSAP to move 3D objects about in the scene. I'm going to dip out before I keep talking too much. So hit the like button. I know you all liked it.